Welcome guys. In this very short video, I'm going to tell you about the cyclooxygenase or the COX enzymes, how it works, and so let's jump in. So guys, here is an arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is a polyunsaturated omega-6 fatty acid. So this polyunsaturated omega-6 fatty acid is a derivative of what? Cosanoid, which is called the word arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid has what we call a pathway, and it has two pathways, which is called the lipooxygenase and the word cyclooxygenase. But in this very video, just as I promised, I'm going to talk about the cyclooxygenase pathway. This is the cyclooxygenase pathway. The cyclooxygenase pathway that is being derived from the arachidonic acid has two cyclooxygenase. We have the cyclooxygenase 1 and the cyclooxygenase 2. Okay, so the cyclooxygenase 1 synthesizes this eicosanoid group here. This is how it is synthesized from the PTGS2, which is called the prostaglandin G2, to the word PTGS2, which is called the prostaglandin-H2. That is how it is being synthesized from stages. It's synthesized from the cyclooxygenase 1 to the cyclooxygenase PTGS2, which is the prostaglandin G2, and the word prostaglandin-H2. And here is where that it does all this. Here's where that it does all this. The prostaglandin D2, the prostaglandin E2, the prostaglandin F2 alpha, the prostaglandin I2, which is otherwise called the word prostacyclin, and the word TXA2, otherwise called the word the thromboxane A2. This is how they all affect the body now. Okay, now this thromboxane A2, otherwise called the TXA2, this is what it does. It forms what we call a platelet aggregator, or a platelet. It causes formation of platelet in the blood vessels. Yes, it causes formation of platelet in the blood vessels, and this one inhibits the formation of platelet, which is called the prostacyclin. The prostacyclin inhibits formation of platelet in the blood vessels. That is to say, they have two opposite effects in the platelet, in the platelet aggregation and inhibition. This one inhibit the formation, the prostacyclin inhibit the formation of the platelet, whereas the thromboxane aggregate or causes formation of platelet. So therefore, this thromboxane A2, get me well, this thromboxane A2 will cause what we call vasoconstriction, because there is a platelet of formation. It causes platelet formation, so it will also cause what we call vasoconstriction, like constriction in the blood vessels due to platelet formation. Okay, whereas this one will cause vasodilation, because it does it inhibits the formation of blood platelets, so it will cause vasodilation. And so therefore, this very one here, the prostacyclin, will be a very good aid or a good help for those one having blood pressure, and also too, it will also help for the maintenance of the stomach and of the kidney, because it increases blood flow. Okay guys, so that's not all. We also have the prostaglandin D2, which is the prostaglandin D2. We also have the prostaglandin A2. Then now, let us go back to the COX-2 enzyme. The COX-2 enzyme. Now, the COX-2 enzyme doesn't just activate on its own. This one are already there. The COX-1 enzymes are already there. They are called environmental well keep in our body. They are already there to regulate our body system. That is the COX-1 enzymes, right? But now the COX-2 enzymes are not just there. They are being activated when something occurs in our body. Maybe we have injury, or we suffer from thrombophlebitis, that is inflammation of the blood vessels, yes, or edema, things like edema, when we have feverish condition or pains, that is when cyclooxygenase 2 or the COX-2 is being activated. So therefore, that is why we need our NSAID or analgesic. That is when we need our NSAID. This is when we're supposed to take our NSAID, when the activation of the cyclooxygenase 2 or the COX-2 is being activated due to our body system, at a particular given time, based on the situation at hand, maybe by edema, by thrombophlebitis, or by injury, when we sustain injury, or when we have any pains, or when the nociceptor is being activated. That is when we feel pains in our body. Yes, when we feel pains, that is when the COX-2 enzymes now become active. So it becomes active in that very area of the body at that particular period of time. So that is when we need our NSAID. So now when we take, assuming we take something like aspirin, right? Cool. This is what happened. Aspirin, our normal NSAID like aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, pyroxicam, and the rest of them, does not only inhibit the COX-1, right? They inhibit both the COX-1 and the COX-2. They inhibit both COX-1 and COX-2 enzyme. Whereas what's supposed to be inhibited at that particular moment of time supposed to be the COX-2, which was activated due to our body system at a particular given time, due to the injury being sustained, due to the arousal of the nociceptor, right? So it's supposed to inhibit the COX-2, but this time it's both inhibit the COX-1 and the COX-2 enzyme, which is not ideal or advisable. So the best thing for us to do is to take a new generational NSAID that is specifically made for COX-2. It's called cyclooxygenase 2 inhibitor. Example of it is what we call Cyclooxygenase. It's called Cyclooxygenase and enteroxygenase. Drugs like this are more advisable to take. Okay, so when we take our aspirin instead of taking this cyclooxygenase 2 inhibitor, something wrong will happen. Why? Because it will inhibit what takes care of the environment, like the kidney, like the blood flow. The blood will no longer flow normally. Blood flow will no longer flow normally again, like to our brain, to our bones, and to other area of our body. And when there needs to be a platelet formation, like for the thrombosine, the TXA2, like for the thrombosine A2, where there need to be a formation of platelet, maybe after surgery or maybe after cut or any injury being sustained, there need to be a platelet formation. Now you took aspirin. Aspirin now inhibits, or ibuprofen or naproxen, any of them, now inhibits the formation of this, inhibits cyclooxygenase 1. Right? Whenever it inhibits cyclooxygenase 1, it will also inhibit the synthesization of thrombosine A2, which causes blood platelet aggregation or formation. Okay, guys, I hope you learned something from this. If you do, please just give it a like. Okay, thank you, guys.